So you've just inherited a property, and now what do you do with it? You've really got to figure out all of that, right? Do you sell it? Do you rent it? Can you even move into it? Instead of it becoming a massive headache, we want to help you figure out what to do here, because this is something that we encounter a lot. We deal with a lot of people who have inherited a property and they're trying to figure out what makes sense for them and their particular circumstances. And of course, that's it. That a lot has to do with their particular circumstances, and it can be bittersweet. Maybe it came from a loved one and now you really just have to figure out what to do with it. But if you stick around, I'm going to break a lot of this down and some of the things that you really need to consider financially, legally, and even emotionally before making the decision. My name is Sue Richey. I am the owner of Richey Property Management here in Northern Virginia. As I said, we come across a lot of people. We also sell real estate, so we can kind of guide people and advise people on what to do, whatever they need to do, whether it's sell or rent. Okay, so first step is that you've really got to understand what it is that you've inherited. You want to assess the condition of the property. Now, there's a good chance that if this was an elderly person that has passed away, that maybe there is a lot of outdated stuff in the home. You might be dealing with a kitchen that's still from the 80s, or you might have leaking roof and deferred maintenance and things like that, or you might be lucky enough to have inherited a really beautifully maintained home. But understanding the condition is going to help you really decide then what you can even do with it, and also what you're able to do with it. Next, you want to understand the debts and the costs that are involved that might still be outstanding. Because just because you've inherited a home doesn't mean it's all free, right? Of course, there are mortgages and there are liens and there could be unpaid taxes and things like that. So it's going to take a little time to dig in and figure all of that out so that you really get the full picture of what you actually have. And then, of course, there are the legal things in the estate process itself. Check if the home's gone through probate, and especially if there is no will. And you're going to have to talk to an attorney and make sure that you're not taking on a lot of legal headaches as well. Okay, so once you've done all of that and you've got a really good picture of what it is that you have inherited, the next thing is going to be to understand all of the financial implications for you. First, you want to think about the property taxes and capital gains, if that's going to apply to you, what, the inheritance taxes and things like that. So if any of these things are going to affect you, it's going to help you make a decision about what you need to do. You're also going to want to really dig into the cost of repair and maintenance on the property. And you want to get it to a point where you could sell it or rent it. That's going to cost some money. So even if it's paid off, can you afford to do all of these things and pay for all of that out of your pocket, or maybe some of the money that you've inherited? You're going to have to cover HOA and condo fees. Maybe you're going to have to cover insurance, utilities, and all of those things that you need to do. So you have to have the financial ability to do that. The next thing would be to really look at what the potential rental income could be from this property or properties. Is it worth renting out? Could it provide you some serious cash flow? Maybe. And that depends on a lot on what the current debt is. If the mortgage is low and you got some good cash flow, then that could really be a good decision for you. On the other hand, you might just decide that that's just more trouble than it's worth and you don't want to do any of that and you just want to sell it maybe as is. And that's fine too. But understanding that and the financial situation, and if renting, selling, or whatever is the right option for you, that's what you need to do next. Now, of course, we like renting real estate as an option for so many reasons, but renting isn't for everyone, but you do have a good asset. And if you can make it work and let that asset appreciate, that's just more money for you down the road. Okay, so now that you've gone through and assessed the financial implications and kind of what you're dealing with in terms of the property itself, it's time to really decide what it is that you want to do. And of course, this is a complicated decision. Maybe you have other family members that you need to consult with. You definitely, again, want to consult with other professionals like real estate professional, attorneys, and people like that, because they're going to give you all of the necessary information that you need in order to make the right decision. You don't want to rush into this, because what you feel like at the time that all of this is happening, there's probably a lot going on, and you don't want to rush into a decision, because holding on to that property could be the best thing you ever do. But if you're just like, I don't want to deal with this, and you just get rid of it, you may regret it later. So take the time to really assess and figure it out. If it's a situation where the market is really hot, then selling really might be a great choice, and you can take that cash and maybe you invest in a different type of real estate, different property, maybe somewhere where you live. But if you definitely should consult those professionals, get an appraisal too, and get an idea of the value so that you can really maximize what you do with that property, because that's really what the person who left it to you probably wants you to do. Another option would be to move in. So obviously this isn't something for everyone, and if you don't live in the same area that the property's in, then this probably doesn't make sense for you. But if you do, and it's a home that you could really see yourself living in for at least the time being, maybe you can live there while you fix it up and then sell it or rent it or do whatever. Maybe that's an option. But again, that's probably the third in the list of selling or renting, because not everyone can move into a home that they just inherited. So if you can, that could be a really good option for you. And if you are in Northern Virginia and we can help you think through some of these things, like I said, we've helped many people over the years who've inherited properties figure out what to do, what kinds of updates and things they should do so that they could keep it as a rental, because that's where we came in. We've also helped people sell those homes. So if you live here and you just want, to think about this and bounce some ideas off, we're happy to talk with you. But while I'm a big fan of owning rental property, and while it can be a great source of passive income, it's definitely not for everyone. There are pros to renting, like steady cash flow, property appreciation, and things like that I just mentioned, but there are also cons, because you're gonna have to deal with tenants and maintenance and potential vacancies and things like that. And of course, if you work with a property manager like us, hire us to take care of all of that day-to-day stuff, but it's still something that you need to pay attention to. So it may or may not be the right move for you. So I know this is a big deal when you inherit a property, for sure. You want to make sure you navigate it properly, get the help of a financial advisor, real estate, tax experts to help you figure out what makes the most sense for you and your family. And again, if we can help in any way, we're happy to do so. I also have included in the description below, there is an ebook with just some more details and kind of an outline of some of the steps that I went over here and a little bit more that could help you think through. It's free, you can download it, and our information is in there as well. So I hope this was helpful, and just share it with somebody who you think might benefit. And I hope you'll subscribe to our channel for other great landlord tips and tricks in managing your rental property. Take care, and I'll see you next time.